Diddy's sons have stopped coming into his bail hearings, and the lawsuits against them for rape of minors are heating up. Grace Omar K alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and he at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation. Diddy's son Christian Combs was just named as a co-conspirator in the lawsuit against Diddy, and it looks like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. There are also allegations that Diddy forced these victims to have sex with prostitutes as he touched himself. He called these situations freak-offs, and oftentimes he recorded them. Here's where some of the allegations against his son Justin Combs come in. So all this takes us back to February, when Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, filed civil against Diddy. In his lengthy lawsuit, Rod straight now drops Justin Combs, describing him as someone who solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. There's actually a picture of Justin Combs with an allegedly underage girl shown in the lawsuit. Now, in this specific instance, Lil Rod alleges at least one underage girl came to Diddy's home for a listening party. A sex worker was also apparently solicited, and a freak-off ensued. As an aside, this is the same night that El Ro alleges Diddy forced him to take a laced shot. He started to feel lightheaded and then woke up at 4:00 in the morning naked next to his SE worker. It's important to note Justin Combs is listed as a defendant on this case because, according to Lil Rod, he facilitated Diddy's alleged RICO enterprise and at times participated. Civil suit points to more accusations against Justin Combs too for his involvement in an alleged shooting cover-up. According to court documents, it happened on September 12, 2022 outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. Lil Rod says Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's friend who went by G were all there when things got heated. Lil Rod says he heard multiple gunshots ring out and later found G on the bathroom floor in the fetal position. Lil Rod says he was bleeding out of his hip and leg area. Lil Rod says he was applying pressure to G's wounds and then asked the crowd to call an ambulance. At that point, both Diddy and Justin Combs disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy then gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. So that specific allegation involves Diddy's son Justin, but another allegation, an entirely separate civil lawsuit, involves his other son Christian, or King Combs. Grace Omar K alleges that Christian Combs sadly assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and she says it was facilitated by Diddy. Diddy's family has stopped coming to his trial. At his recent bail hearing, only two of his sons, King Combs and Christian Combs, who have been named in the lawsuit against Diddy, showed up. The rest of his 7 kids didn't even bother to come to the hearing, and allegedly they're trying to distance themselves from their father. The allegations of abuse against Diddy are shocking, and there are reports that Diddy was trying to groom his stepson too. Shockingly, his stepson is the one who came to his trial and was allegedly involved in abuse minors alongside his dad. Interesting too, because this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you're having all of Diddy's children except with the exception of Love, who was just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court, but you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there, and the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today, so when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit he's wearing, khaki, from that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner. And music, out, music, 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 music. Courtney Burgess, a man who was friends with Diddy's ex-wife Kim Porter and is allegedly handing over freak-off tapes showing Diddy and Sewell contact with minors, is being sued by Diddy's son. Interestingly, Diddy's sons don't even care what their mother has to say and are only interested in the money that Courtney might make if he decides to publish their mother's memoir. Allegedly, this memoir is currently in FBI custody along with 8 freak-off tapes. He says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem: Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy, but they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and assist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property like her diary entries, her potential manuscript as her heirs. They own it, and they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear though, they aren't acknowledging that there is in fact a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative book, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon on. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this, but what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it. In a recent interview on News Nation, Courtney Burgess described the details of the freak-off tapes that were given to him by Kim Porter, and reportedly these tapes show multiple celebrities engaged in abuse. These tapes verify Diddy's MO. The victims had been drugged and appeared to be minors. It's unclear at this point if any of Diddy's children were part of his freak-off parties, but given that Diddy's stepson was actually pictured there, it's not hard to believe if that's true, and those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women. How many of those celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage? 2 MES, 2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs? This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were right. Appear to be. Let me rephrase it based on yes, understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appear to be either inebriated or intoxicated or into the influence? All of them. All of them. Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing? I think all, to be honest, all were victims or were perpetrating. They were victimized, meaning this was happening to them and they were inebriated, right? Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it of they was doing. Freddie P., an artist who was allegedly blackballed by Diddy and worked closely with him during his early years, has said that industry insiders always thought that something weird was up between Diddy and his stepson. He reportedly witnesses suspicious behavior between Diddy and his son Christian, and now even lawsuits are saying that Diddy raped minors with his son at his side. That name freaky man. I look at his kids and everything. It's more deeper questions than I be wanting to know, like why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations cause that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close cause he might got your secrets cause he's not your child. So if he not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reach a certain age because he's not yours, and you know in your mind he not yours, and now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him and you provide him with everything he want. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson's secrets. He got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody cause his legacy, his manhood going to be, and not only that, his brother don't going to look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God talk about it, right? I don't know. All I'ma say is I don't know. I'll be short, son. All I'ma say is who's infatuated with another man's son that like you just that seemed like grooming to me. The victim bringing the lawsuit against